This review will be way shorter than the last one, merely because I'm way less passionate about it, but not entirely apathetic towards it. I'd actually like to try to keep a vague schedule going on an anime review. Also, it's been brought to my attention that I swear a lot, but I like to think it adds a little something to the reviews, so instead I'll just be f***ing censoring it. Like that. Alright then. Nobunagun is about a 14-year-old girl with an obsession for military things, discovering in the midst of a fast-track evolutionary alien invasion that she is one of the few individuals on Earth with the power to fight them back. Sounds like your basic magical girl anime, however strangely named. But Nobunagun really confused me. And to be fair, I'm confused by a lot of things, but this was different. This anime was shonen? Like, it doesn't really make sense. It's the shonen part that doesn't make sense. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it. But honestly, the entire time I felt like I was in a weird daze because of this anime. It was like a production company woke up one day and said, "Whoa. Guys, maybe girls like shonen too?" F***ing crazy, I know. First things first, the shonen main protagonist was a girl. And yeah, that's not so odd for shonen, but you see the super interesting thing is the level of fan service that was a bare minimum. My cat is creeping through a f***ing plastic bag. This is the only time she's ever been in my room. Maybe a panty shot or a cleavage shot, but no boob jiggles, no perverted fanboys flipping skirts. Yeah, there was perversion, but this is shonen, alright? So I'm not expecting anything else really. I know that look on your face. It must be G-rated anime if there's next to no fan service. That's where you're wrong. Some of the deaths are pretty gruesome, which I found really refreshing. And here you point out the other existing female-centric shonen anime, which is a very short list, and if you cross out the ones which are half fan service. However, I won't not mention the fact that sometimes it relies heavily on humor about some of the other characters trying to get into her reincarnated pants. I probably should explain the reincarnation thing too, so the lore goes like this.
And it goes a little something like this.
The lone survivor of the last alien species this invasion force took out before came to Earth to help humans prepare to fight back. During history, the survivor took DNA from important figures like Jack the Ripper, Isaac Newton, and Nobunaga, to only mention a few, and fused it with some sort of tech shit and then placed the DNA back into the gene pool to eventually culminate in existence of peeps with the ability to unlock awesome powers via tech supplied from the survivor. Why the lengthy process? Who the fuck knows? However, we start off with Ogura, who just so happens to have Nobunaga's DNA, and she gets a fucking awesome gun rig for a right arm. Nobunagun was a breath of fresh air, mainly because the main character could have easily been replaced by a guy, and if all the genders had been swapped to match, the anime would have been exactly the same. It's kinda actually insane. Kinda like this anime. I didn't love it, but I had infinite respect for what it was doing and warmed to it during the episodes. But I can see this review isn't meant to be a dissection of shonen conventions, which all my reviews end up as somehow, so I'll get into the technical stuff. Ogura at a ground level is a generic shonen protagonist. I wouldn't even try to be two ways about it. Her hobbies and interests mark her as particularly different, so she starts with the series not having any friends, but ends up building relationships. She has a hidden bravery and talent that is triggered by a hero call to action. Ogura is the basic building block of every shonen protagonist there ever was. However, the good thing about it is that they didn't really stop there. They also made Ogura an actual girl. They gave her a love interest and flaws and doubts. She actually genuinely felt like a realistic depiction of a 14-year-old girl, minus the whole saving humanity thing. Towards the end, I was actually rooting for her to get the guy. Also, points for the girl in my book for actually enjoying shooting things and enjoying her powers. In fact, the only reason she was considering fulfilling the trope of refusal of her call was because it would be an entirely different lifestyle and would change everything. Like an actually legitimate fear for a teenage girl. Ogura is a pretty awesome character in my book. Alien invasion-wise, there's not much to tell you about. The story progresses through the aliens' attempt to get into the land and evolve there so that they can become the dominant life on Earth. That's literally the entire season's plot. However, we follow Agura as she trains, battles, and forms relationships with fellow DNA peeps, and eventually falls in love with one. I have nothing to complain about. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't exactly standout either. The overall pacing and efficiency of the delivery of content was pretty tight, but since it's not a hugely popular anime like One Piece, it can't afford to stretch arcs over 80 episodes. I'm not sure I really like the design of Nobunagun. Their outfits felt a little reminiscent of Gant's, and I don't really like the plug suit designs, but after they transform it matches a little more. Still, Nobunagun looked a little roughly designed. However, in this case, it might have been the point. I didn't warm to the design until a few eps in, but by then the animation quality and general characters had won me over. Animation and editing style were really fucking interesting. I'd actually be hard-pressed to tear this and the music component apart, as they really affect each other. See, it was the subtle and yet not so subtle things about this anime that I liked design-wise. The little notifications that brought a smile to my lips, such as drool or drooly girl, just raised the humor of the situation a little bit, and brought your attention to important details normal people might miss. And I, as a normal person, would have definitely missed them. I also really liked the superimposed patterns and tones on the outer edges and shades of characters to portray differences in character. There were some crazy spiels of sequences that I am still a little curious about, but entertained with. However, I think it added to the overall feel of the anime. I don't really know where to include a dissection of fighting here, but I might as well. Nobunagun has the general drink tea and fuck shit up, but we're all out of tea feel to it, but also has the little strategy, which is generally revealed as the operations are put underway, which is nice. The information is withheld from the viewer and draws some suspense and intrigue. Agura fights with the joy of the true warrior, grinning as she becomes absolutely trigger happy and achieves her mission. She's not one for shirking on melee combat either, and can often outthink a rival. The other characters are much more short-range based, and the way Agura engages each character's particular abilities is probably the highlight of her strategic and fighting skills. My cat's so cute. Nice. Music was what absolutely set the scene for Nobunagun as well. For example, how the opening is metal rock, which after a few listens is super catchy. Respect toward that man. Anyway, I don't really understand how the lyrics were appropriate, but I think I comprehend it was more the mood and entail that was important. The music really amps you up and hypes the feel of the anime leading in, but is tinged with a chorus that has a little more softness to it, so in essence, hardcore going into battle, potentially losing people, but still enjoying it. When I think about it, I would definitely call this anime a super toned down version of Gantz, as well as excluding all the shit that makes Gantz sign in. Think softcore Gantz, without a creepy main, with softer animation, a softer tone, and a striking animation style, and you'll have maybe something kinda maybe a little bit like Nobunagun. Overall, I had a fun time watching it, and I'm pretty usually really picky about whether or not I'll continue watching anything based on the first episode. And usually if I don't like it past that, I'll just completely drop it. So kudos for Nobunagun for keeping me watching the entire season. If you have some spare time and just want to burn a few hours and still be a little bit engaged with the content you're consuming, I'd say give Nobunagun a shot. Haha! Puns!